comparing these two versions of Magical Jungle. One of them I did quite a long time ago, and one of them I have just finished. Now one is this one I have just finished. It's actually the US edition. This is the UK edition. I don't think that makes any difference to the content, but anyway, we'll see. Sorry about my leg in shot. I can't move out of shot very easily. But anyway, hopefully it will all be okay. Okay, so here is our first page. I'm just going to adjust my seating position a little bit. Oh, sorry. You can have a little look at the first page. So you can see they're fairly similar in the sense that I did them really bright and colourful and fun, but you can actually see the difference in the covers, which is quite interesting. This one is actually a dust wrapper cover, which is the UK edition, and the US edition is just a French flap with no dust wrapper. And I think the more modern books of Johanna's are like that anyway. So let's also look at the binding. That's really close to the centre, whereas there's a gap here, which is interesting. Anyway, we're not really here to compare the printing. So on this page I didn't actually complete this picture, which is interesting, whereas here I did. But I both here bright and cheery. I actually look at these leaves, they're really pretty. I really like that one. I never know how to colour a hummingbird, so I have to forgive that. And here, look, I didn't bother to do this page, whereas here I did, which is interesting. I think I found it all quite overwhelming, but yeah, I didn't do it. I mean, yes, I could do it now, but I finished it quite a long time ago, so it's just, I don't want to go back and colour it. So this one here is interesting. So I drew in the sort of part of this cliff and carried it on through onto this side. I suspect I probably saw somebody else do the same thing and copied their idea. But it's interesting anyway. I just realised you're not quite lined up. There we go. So that's quite interesting. But I've got a very bright macaw there, which is very cool, whereas here I've just got a grey parrot. So that's interesting. But I was trying to stick to a more limited colour palette on this one compared to this one. So let's go. Now, this is quite interesting. Both versions of this book on this side, I was trying to go for a magical feel. On this one I've tried to go for some sort of bokeh effect, but it hasn't worked at all, and I've done some white dots and circles, whereas here I've just done some pastel splodges, so that's really interesting. But I actually prefer the way I've coloured this compared to the way I coloured this one, so that's interesting. Again here, this is really pretty. I love all these colours, whereas this one's a bit plain, not so exciting at all. Interesting. Wow, so this one, look at the background. It probably took me years. It's not years, days. This is probably done in polychromos, because I only had polys at the beginning. I didn't have many other types of pencils, whereas this, as I said yesterday, if you watched my flip through yesterday, is where I tested out some pastel pencils, so it was all quite different. So I rather like this as well. I've had a go at a background. I've put some water and some grass and some sky, which is interesting, and these birds are quite pretty as well. And also I've drawn a circle for a sun. Again, I would have drawn around some sticky tape or something like that, as I did in one of the pictures in this book, because I didn't have a circle making tool. This page is really pretty. Look at those gold leaves, very pretty orange flower. I spent a lot of time on this one. This one, not so much. I think because there was a page in the planner that I did like this. I think when I came around to doing this one, I'd done it quite a few times. Now these are interesting to compare. I often find that I do them in similar colours, but I haven't actually. They're quite different. These are really pretty. I prefer this one, which is interesting. Butterflies again, this one being a sparkle gel pen, this one being sort of normal pencils, just I didn't colour the centre. I think some people thought I hadn't finished it, but I just wanted it to look like the wings were see-through, so it was just a different idea. Lovely Okapi page. Actually, interestingly, on this one I coloured it incorrectly. These lines are supposed to be white and I coloured them dark, so I did it a bit wrong. But anyway, that was interesting. But the pages are fairly similar, I think, interestingly. But and I've got a pencil background on this one, whereas this one's pastel, which was a lot easier. Again, I prefer this older book version of these with the nice backgrounds here and here. It's a little, I mean, I've got a circle there for the sun, and I think it would have looked better if it had been blended in. The blending isn't brilliant, but I like it. And it's a different, obviously a different type of toucan to this one, which is quite plain. Now these two being done in Bambino crayons will be quite different to these two, which haven't been. This one was done in Staedtler Ergosoft. I actually won a Staedtler colouring competition with this picture. When the book came out, they ran a competition to colour this particular picture. I think it was a Johanna download, but I coloured the version in the book that I had, and I thought I'd use Ergosoft because they were running the competition, so it seemed to make sense. And I won the competition, and I won this copy of Magical Jungle, as well as a tin of their 36 pencils and some pens and some fine liners in a really pretty box. So that was interesting and really exciting as well. I like both of these actually. Again, the toucans are done in very different ways. I like these beaks on these better, but that's fun. Now this page is done in a very different way. Oops. On this one we have white dots starting to appear, where I'm starting to learn the values of using a white gel pen on different areas, which is interesting. This one I made more of a fixed colour palette, simple palette, just oranges and greens, whereas this one's a bit more mixed. These are very pretty, aren't they? I think. Now we have our two hearts, very different. I remember doing this orange and really enjoying it, and then feeling that none of the other colours were vibrant enough to really work with the orange, and they just stood out and nothing else did. This one, more of a everything's the same, so nothing stands out above anything else, which probably works better. Again, I'm happy with that. I like a black outline on a butterfly. I think it works really well. I have done a video on how I colour butterflies, because sometimes they can be quite tricky, and pointed out different things that I do. Now this page, I don't like this page. It doesn't work, it's not cohesive, it's ugh. This page, very bright. I'm not sure that these leaves work with the rest, and maybe work with these. It's all a bit of a mishmash, so no, not had a success at that page. Wow, that's quite bright pink. So here, the pandas, this one's got like an orange sunsetty background and a bit of a background, not very well blended, but you know, just learning at the time. I think I still prefer that one to this one, but you know, again, single colour. I didn't colour in the critter. I don't know whether that was intentional or not, or whether I just forgot, but that pink background, I think, yeah, that pink is a pink Posca pen. Now, I remember doing this one and really enjoying doing the fixed colour, simple palette, just oranges, browns for the butterflies, orange flowers and green leaves. I had a lot of fun with that, I remember. And this one I also had a lot of fun with, doing a wintry sort of colour scheme with silver glitter. I don't know if you can see the glitter at all. Anyway. Yes, this chap. I love these chaps. Ooh, my page is nearly out. So this one was my first attempt at a pastel background, and I applied a lot of pastel to that page, and I was really pleased with the effect. So I wanted it a little bit lighter around him, a bit browner around the branch and things like that, and I spent a long time on that page, and I think it really paid off. This one, no background, but I still think he looks pretty cool. The leaves are really similar colours actually, so that's interesting. So here we've got more pastel-y colours with a black critter, which I think is quite fun. This one, ugh, nasty colour combo. Oof. Loose pages, really scary. I've not had that with any other book. I think it's the US binding. Wow, so there's quite a difference between those two pages, huge. So this one is really simple. It's just a pastel, graduation of pastel colour and a black pen. Whereas this again is pastel, but obviously I put a little bit more effort into colouring the leaves, some different colours and things. So, but really interesting. I like them both actually. Okay, so I've always found this page quite daunting because of the sheer amount of large leaves on it. So this one I did in glitter pens to make it a little less daunting. You can see a bit of the shine now, I think. But this one I did in lots of greens, and I can see that it was an effort, that I haven't spent lots of time making it look really nice. And again, this one, not very keen on that. I think I did 2 or 3 layers of background, but it really doesn't look too good. There's also gel pen on the background because the background isn't dark enough. You can't really see it very well. You need to get rid of all your white paper if you want your white pen to stand out. But this one is better, I think, with the Bambino crayons, nice and bright and cheery. Now this next page is quite funny. This this was in an Inky Obsession Facebook group. There was a challenge. You had to do a page from any book, or might have been from Magical Jungle. You could not colour any leaves green, and you had to put a banana somewhere in the picture, draw one in. So my challenge is, where's the banana? And in case you're wondering, it's here. I hid it quite well amongst the other yellows. And as you can see, none of my leaves are green, but everything that isn't a leaf is green, just to make it a little bit fun and a bit different. Whereas this page is so completely different. I was testing out my cloud template with my pastels, and I just went over the background in a simple pen. I never had any intention of actually colouring it in. It was just a bit of fun, just a little bit of an experiment page really. I don't think there's any harm in leaving a page like that where it's just been an experiment. Okay. So these two are fairly similar in colour, which is absolutely fascinating. I've certainly gone for pinks and blues and greens, which is really fun. I think I like this one. It's a little bit more vibrant, but I wanted a peaceful page for that one. Now this is fun because I've used a black Posca in the background. It really makes it stand out. This one I use brown, which is really different, and I've shaded this one a lot more in the flowers. And the pineapple has got gold pen on. I'm not sure if you can see, maybe there. This one has just got a graduation of colour through, which is interesting. But great fun. I really like that page. I had a lot of fun with it both times. Now here we've got a pink sugar skull again on both pages. This one I tried to do a background of yellow. Yellow is quite hard to do as a background because the white shows through and it's quite hard to spot it. I noticed also I've got a different colour of yellow here, which is, and there. Actually I think there might be some transfer from the other page. I'm not sure what's going on there. But anyway, my leaves aren't very neatly coloured, as they aren't on this one either. They're so big I find it quite hard to colour a large area really neatly. Now we have our two, what are they? Are they praying mantises? Now this colour is really nice on this one, and I prefer the leaves. Actually I prefer the colours on this one, so that's interesting. Now you can see why when I did this one I didn't want to do lots of raindrops, because ignore that page for a minute, because there's lots of raindrops on this page. What I did here was I started painting in watercolour. I hadn't used watercolour before, started it, it was awful, I hated it, and I just gave up. And there it is. You know, it's my only book with a half completed page in it that I'm not going to go back and finish. I just couldn't do it, and I was really worried. The page was getting crinkled. I thought it was going to start showing through the page, and actually no, I don't think it has, but I was just not happy, so I just stopped. You know, sometimes you need to just walk away. So that's what I did with that page. Okay, this page. Now, oof, sorry, my back is being twisted. So this is interesting. I really like this page, and I think Chris Cheng has done a video on this page, which I'm going to do at some point as well. This one, limited palette, I love the warm yellow. I think it really works well. This page, obviously no background, but this, I really like this, and some of the flowers, they're really pretty. So it's really interesting. I was having a good go at shading and things like that. And these are the same colour as these, which is really interesting too. Okay, we have our hippo and fish, favourite pages of mine. Quite similar, I think, actually, which is interesting, and both quite fun. So we've got yellows and greens here in the flowers rather than orange. I think that works really well, actually, and some pretty pinks there. And we've put some pink into the leaves, which is rather nice on that one. Interesting. Ah, yes. I remember this page well. We'll do this page first. So they're quite similar, I think. We've gone for a bit of a background. This one's got an up and down coloured background, which is always a mistake with a sky because it looks like it's raining. It's better to go that way. It looks much better. This one's got a background going that way, and it looks more sunsetty, much better, I think, in my opinion. I like these purple highlights in this building. It works really well with that orange. Now this page is interesting. Here I was going for the impression that there's something under the water, some fish or something like that, and I had some fun with it. But it's quite interesting how the flowers are quite similar colours, which is, I find it fascinating. Now this page is interesting. On this page I was very daunted by the amount of background, and I hadn't really discovered pastels very much when I coloured this picture. So what I did was I traced the turtle and drew them in, and this fish. Now what's interesting is these two turtles I traced and drew over with a gel pen, with a fine liner pen. This fish I traced, you see I turned it round, but I just left it with pencil background, and it looks quite different. So that's interesting. I just needed to fill up some of that space because it was just too daunting for me to colour it all. So that was interesting. So I like the mix of colours actually on that page. I'm not always that good at mixing up different colours, but I think it works quite well. Now this is a really fascinating thing. Hot and cold colours, but in reverse. How interesting. So on this one we've got our oranges and greens, which we've got on this side oranges and browns. We've got our pinks and bluey greens on this side. I actually like all of those. I really like this particular image that Johanna's drawn. I could colour this one over and over. Now here we have a shiny ant critters. Hi, I'm so sorry I had to stop. The phone rang. I've had to edit that bit out, but and I don't really know where I'm at because my battery went flat while I was on the phone. So I think we may have moved on from this page, but I'm not entirely sure. So I'm just going to turn over now. Oh yes, I was talking about the sparkles on this page. I don't really think I talked about this page much, where I did a pink and blue elephant, which I think was good fun. So let's move on. I'm sure you've seen that page. Ah yes, look at this. They're both really similar. I obviously decided that green and orange was the way to go. So that's quite fun. Okay, let's move on. Right, we have, I think these pictures are definitely a lot more vibrant than these. I mean, they're right next to the window here, so they're going to look a little bit bleached out maybe by the light. But interesting that these flowers are pink in both, which is really cool. I do love it when I do things the same. I think it's really fun. Actually, the cork in that bottle is much better than the one in that bottle, which is interesting. It's a little bit high, isn't it? There we go. Okay, so we've got our parrots. These are done in a festive style, silver and gold parrots with red and flowers and green leaves. These are not. These look a little bit more pastel. Again, I think I struggled with the big leaves and lots of detail and big drawing, and I haven't done a background on either, which is quite interesting, I think. Okay, now these, we've got a striking black background, brightly coloured birds. I'm really liking that. But this one is really different with its one tone, one colour, just blue, so that's interesting. We have quite bold butterflies in both. Here we have a silver one and a red, but I've liked doing the black detailing on both of them, which is good. But this one I've done some white dots, but not on this one. And we've got a simple palette here, and this one is a bit more mixed up. Okay, what have we got here? I think I really, I really enjoyed this page. I did both pages differently though. I didn't do it as a double page because, sorry, I'll be a bit quieter now. I've just moved away from the camera a little bit to get more comfortable. But I wanted to do them in different ways, and I like both of them actually. I think they're nicer in bold, bright colours, but you know, that's the way, that's that. Although those are quite similar, aren't they? Interesting. Let's turn the page. This is our sort of ribbon, as Johanna calls it. So this one's got no background, but it's got a lot of nice bright colours and details. I really like it. And this one we've got our cloud background. I actually really like both of those. They're really good fun. So that's nice. Although my colouring isn't quite so good here, I can see it's really developing as I've done that page, which is nice. And yes, I remember this one. I tried to do a sort of background with some vines and things, and I wasn't very happy with it, but I quite like the bold brightness of it all. This one is a bit more pale, but that's okay. I like both. And we have our tigers. Now, for both of them, I know I looked at a photo and tried to copy. I had great fun doing the eyes and things like that, but this one here's got no white pen or black pen in it. It's all done with just pencil. I think the pen really helps to bring that one to life and make it look more furry. Now, what are we doing? This one I really dislike. Not keen on the mishmash of colour, the messy pastel in the background, and even the glitter pen. I'm not sure if it's working. This one, more interesting. I prefer this side than this side, interestingly. And I find actually, as a right-handed colourist, the right-hand page is often easier. Although as you get towards the end of the book, you haven't got so much to lean on. The left-hand page can be slightly easier where that's concerned. But I often put something underneath, like another book of the same size, to help me. So we have finished that. So we need to... What's interesting is if we look at those blank pages, this one is white and this one is cream, which is really interesting. Let's skip on to the... these are loose. Hold on. So there's that one, look. So this one we did washi tape. Washi tape and pastel colours. Whereas here we've got quite bright colours, which is rather fun. And what's the next picture? Oops. Because they can be removed, I don't know whether I removed them to make them easier to colour or whether they fell out. Oh, we've got the... I think the elephant does come next. Here we go. So two very different looking elephants. This one with just plain green and grey, and this one with much brighter colours. I actually think they're both okay. I'm not sure which I would say I would like the best. Okay, we'll just turn there and we'll pop that one in to have a look at. It goes that way actually. This one, interestingly, is done in gel pens with a little bit of shiny glitter pen. Not sure if you can see that. That's quite interesting. Because I only had a few colours. I think that's actually felt pen, not gel pen. It's felt tip, like Staedtler stripless pens. That's interesting. You can see the difference in vibrancy between the pen and the pencil. And the last one in the book is our Flamingos. Interesting that I've chosen a sort of yellowy background for both. Obviously the flamingos are pink. I think that would be quite obvious choice, but here I've decided to do a frame, whereas on that one I didn't do it as a frame. So that's interesting. Nice brightly coloured flowers in both. So there we go. That is the end of that one, whereas in this one we have a little bit of Posca pen colouring on there. But essentially that is the end. I hope you enjoyed that comparison. It's really interesting for me to look through and compare, and I hope that for you it is as well, partly to see how I've changed, but also just to grab some ideas for your own colouring. Feel free to pinch any ideas, I don't mind at all. I'm totally flattered if people do that. But anyway, thank you so much for watching and happy colouring.